Now let us explore the VLOOKUP function. We have already worked on this list earlier, and we had calculated the grades and we had determined the grades with the help of the ifs function. But now we can achieve the same result with the help of the VLOOKUP function. Now when we say VLOOKUP, that's essentially vertical lookup. So it lookups for a particular value in a set of data that is arranged in a vertical format. Now here we have this in a vertical format. Now what would be the horizontal format? It would be something like this. Let's say I copy this, right click, paste as transpose. Okay, that's transpose. It changes the layout, which is also available from paste special. And here we have this transpose. Click OK, and here we have this. So the parameters are given in a horizontal format. In this case, we cannot use the VLOOKUP function. What comes handy would be the HLOOKUP function, which we'll also discuss about later. For now, let me undo this, and we have this here. So VLOOKUP is vertical lookup, HLOOKUP is for horizontal lookup. And let me show you how this works. So we have VLOOKUP, lookup for what? Now this is something you would feel as if I'm talking to the VLOOKUP function, I'm talking to Excel. So first, VLOOKUP function asks me lookup value. Lookup for what? I say lookup for 72.5, and then when you hit comma, the next thing it asks for is table array. In other words, VLOOKUP is asking, where should I search for it? So I select this entire list over here. I could have also selected just one column, but I need the grades, and grades is in the second column. So we select the entire list here, and next, if I hit comma, it asks for column index number. It's as if VLOOKUP is telling me, okay, in this given list over here, if I find the number that you're looking up for, what should I do? Which column value do you want me to return? In the selected range, we want the grades, and grades are in the second column. So we say number 2. Now range lookup, it asks, if I say exact match, that's false. If exact match is selected, Excel will search for 72.5 in this list, which does not exist. Hence, by selecting exact match and closing the brackets, it will return the hash any error, which means of all the items given in this list, 72.5 does not exist. Well, in case if you want, you can test it out. We just put 72.5 here and hit enter. Well, you see, you have the grade C here. That's how the exact match works. But we know that the grades cannot always be the same as given in the score sheet over here or the reference table. So we do not want the exact match. We need the approximate match. And approximate match, the values in the first column of table array must be sorted in ascending order, it says. They must be sorted in ascending order. And if your order is haywire, then you just can't get it. You see, it's an approximate match, and we had all these things over here in the ascending order, and it just worked. We have the grades over here. Now, what if this was not arranged in the ascending order and it was a random order? Let's say this was, here we have 80 and then 60, and then leave this at 70 and then 50. And then we have something like 40 and then 100 and then 90. So this is quite a random list over here, right? And take a look, what is the score that it's showing here? The grade that it is showing to me is B. Now, why did it show B? 40, it didn't make sense. 50, should have shown the D grade at least. D or maybe F grade, something like that. Okay, because it's somewhere between 70 and 80, either D or F should have made some sense, but neither did it show. It showed the B grade. That's the value which was in the list, the last most value over here that we had. Okay, it did show the corresponding results, and many a times you will not find any logic over here. So let me undo this. That was quite an effort here. So here we have the true, that's the range lookup, we have selected as approximate match and hit enter. Now, in case if you are searching for any specific name, then I would recommend use the exact match. That would be helpful when we are working on employee data, any set of employee information. That time, exact match comes handy because we wouldn't like to see any approximate deviation there. Now, coming to this, I would like to copy paste this formula down, but for this, I need to first log the reference here. And since I'm copying the formula down, I can only log the row reference. I do not need to log the column reference. That should be fine. Hit enter. You have this. Drag this down, or maybe you might just want to move your mouse to this small square here. Once I click here or move my mouse here, the cursor changes. I just double click on it and it comes down. Let's cross verify. 49.5 is below 50, hence it's an F grade. 82.75 is below 90, so that's a B grade. Alright, now let's say what if I had a 0 over here instead of 72.5. That means maybe the student didn't get any answer correct. So if this was to be 0 and hit enter, it's an F grade. So that means although it is less than 50, it did not show E grade, it showed the one above. Similarly, if I hit 0, it did not show anything above, but rather it showed F grade because that was the closest match to the list. Now, one important thing to note, whenever you search for some value in a particular array, the VLOOKUP function will always search for this value in the first column of your selection. Since we had selected these two columns, it worked perfectly. But what if it was something different? Like, now let's say we have states over here. We are talking about the United States within the United States and the state codes. Now, let's say I have Washington, DC, and the state code is DC. Let's expand this list and fix the spelling here. State codes. We have DC, and then we have California, and that's CA, and Illinois, that's IO, New York, that's NY, and then we have Pennsylvania, and we call it as PA. That's the code for this. I guess we have a decent amount of list over here. We do not need to venture further. Okay, if this is the list, and now here I say state code, I enter something here, and the state should appear over here. What if I am mentioning about some postal address, and I'm typing a postal address, and I want the corresponding state code to be visible here? Let's put this state code here. Okay. And I say I want New York. So NY is the state code. Now I do not know which state is it. Let's assume I do not know which state is it for. So I would say VLOOKUP. Lookup for what? Lookup for NY, comma, in this list, comma. If the value matches, I want the corresponding state over here. So I select 1 because the state's name are in the state names are in the first column. So we say this, and this time I want the exact match. I do not want the approximate match here because PA or NY, if it turns out like NU, it might give me some other result, but it will give me a result which might be incorrect. So I want the exact match. I hit enter. It gives me a #NA error. Now what exactly happened here? It was searching for NY in this list, but VLOOKUP by default searches in the first column. It does not search in the second column. And that's one limitation of the VLOOKUP. So be very careful in case if you come across this scenario, maybe you might want to just move this here, or if you're not allowed to move, and then you might just copy this list here and paste it, or maybe you might want to cut or move this from here to here. We have the sequence, whatever I'm looking for, and then I change this reference from here to here, and then it will work. You see, it will work. But look at this selection. I said that if NY is found in this list, return column 1 value. Now it's no longer column 1. The states are in the second column. So I say number 2 and hit enter. It worked, right? So shuffling with the list is possible solution for you to deal with this. But that is something generally not recommended, and often in many companies or many form of data sets, it may not be allowed. You may not be allowed to make any form of changes. So many a times you will have a lot of blank cells somewhere far away. People would just select the list, something like this. Select the list. You have this list over here. Okay, these are the list of countries. Now this is something like a rough work which is not visible to anyone. This could be a hidden cell as well. You can hide this and that's fine. But if you have something like this, irrespective of whether there are blank cells or no blank cells, it does not matter. How do I do this now? I say equal VLOOKUP, lookup for NY in this list. Now here we have the state codes in the first column. That's perfect. And we have the names of the states here far away. So I select the entire range, comma. Now it asks for the column index number. As in like, okay, if I find NY, which column's value do you need? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th column in the selection range. So we put number 7 here, comma. I want an exact match. Close the bracket, hit enter. Here we have this. And this is how exactly it works. We had selected this range. We ignored the starting one because the value that you're looking for should always be in the first column. Now, at times you might have, let's say there is a state name that you have over here like Georgia, which is GA, and it's not found in the list. Okay, that's absolutely fine over here. And let's say this is a genuine case and you cannot avoid the NA error unless and until the list is updated. So in order to fix this issue, we have something called as the if error function. And likewise, we also have the if NA function. And these functions can help you work or return values the way you need them to present in case if there is this error.